Hey guys, and welcome to the second part of Jeffries Plays FIFA as Barnet. So in the first part I just set up a few tactics and set the team up how I wanted it and this stuff like that, and in this video I'm going to start shaking up the team a bit, putting a few players up for transfer, trying to sign a few players, get the team sort of in the shape that I want it. So yeah, let's get started. And one of the first things I do is look for loan players, especially if I'm playing as like a lower league, League 1, League 2 club, because they don't have the biggest budgets, they can't always afford to buy players. You can see I've only got a £200,000 transfer budget, which it doesn't get you as good a player as a loan deal would. So I just go through the loan list, I look at what players are available, I try and get them in, normally for season loans. I used to do short-term loans, but it gets quite frustrating when you've brought in a really good player and then you realise they're only with you for 3 or 4 months before they go off again. And I like stability in my team. I like to try and keep the same starting lineup for as long as I possibly can. So first player that I tried to bring in was Micah. And the second one is Matt Lecointe, however you pronounce his name. He hasn't got the best rating. I know he's only 56, but I play Football Manager as well, and I have him on a Barnet team I have on Football Manager, and he's quite a good signing. Plus, at the age, he's only 17 on this game, so there's definitely room for potential. And you'll see later on in this video, I signed him on loan initially, but towards the end of the season, I think I might be trying to inquire as to how much I can actually buy him for, because he's definitely a prospect for the future. After I look at the loan lists, I look at free agents, because again, you don't have to pay transfer fees for them, you just pay for the wages. So I needed a new goalkeeper. Graham Stack is a good keeper, but I kind of see him as more of a backup choice and get someone else in who can be a first choice keeper. And I also need a decent striker, so you see I go for Gathala and that's not right at all, Galatha and Tim Payne. Again, Payne looks like a young prospect, pretty good rating for a young player, 18-year-old. Definitely room for improvement though, which is why I've looked to sign him. Increase my wage budget, of course. You see now I have no transfer budget, it is purely all on wages, because that's what I want to focus on. I want to get in free agents, I want to get in loan players. I don't care about transfers as such, not at this stage in the game. I just want to get as many good players in as I can before the pre-season starts, so I can build a team, shape a team, get the team used to each other, fit in my tactics before the team's even kicked a ball in a match. Now this bit, if there are any Barnet fans watching, you might want to look away now, because I basically rip a hole through the middle of your team, because I just go through the list, I get the players in order of overall rating, and I just put them all up for sale or transfer or loan list, because quite frankly, if they don't meet my criteria, there is no point in them playing for my team, because they are never going to kick a ball. So players like Gambin, I actually wanted to sell, but he'd only just joined, so I had to put him up for loan. Players like Barnes, they're young players, so I'm more inclined to put them up for loan than I am for transfer, because if I put a young player up for transfer, there's a chance that they could actually move on to somewhere else and become better, and then I'll regret getting rid of them. So I'll put them up for loan to start with, send them out on loan for a bit, see how good they are when they get back, and if they haven't improved that much, then I'll consider selling them. So, loan offers accepted. We got Micah on loan for the season, 19-year-old right back, rated 60, which is good for a player of his age. And we did have Galatha accepted, but I decided to go for Lecointe first, because he's a player that I really needed. I also signed Gurumanji Singh, centre back, because again I needed to strengthen my defence. There's Tim Payne, he's joined as well. I wanted to focus on the attacking side of the team and the defensive side of the team, not including the goalkeeper first, because at the end of the day I want to score goals and I don't want to concede goals. So those are the players that I focus on first, get them in, get them into the team, which you see I'm doing here. Sorry, David Stevens. You are a good centre back, but according to this game, Singh is rated higher than you for now. But you'll see later on in the game, I do find a new position for Stevens. I would like to play him as much as I can, just in case he does end up watching these videos. I don't want to have to confront him one day and him asking why he's not being played in my team, because that would be a little awkward. But yeah, put Tim Payne in. Again, I wouldn't have minded seeing Nurse play in my team a little more, but that's more nostalgia than me actually thinking he's a better striker. Because at the end of the day, I want to win matches. I'm not here to please people. I'm not here to make sure that their favourite player is in the team every week. I'm here to make sure that I win games and I get my team promoted. So at the end of the day, if they're not good enough, they don't play. Simple as that. So players like Barnes and Crawford and Kamara and Lowe, they're not going to get much of a say in my team this season unless I have a serious injury problem, which could well happen. It might not happen. We'll see as the series goes on. But for now, I'm pretty happy with that team as a starting team, but I do still want to make changes to it before the actual season kicks off. Because I tend to be a little bit of a tinkerer during the season. I'd like to keep the same starting lineup, but especially in January, I try and get as many good players in as I can that are available in that time period and put them in my team for the second half of the season, because it helps prevent injuries, it keeps form and morale up. You do upset one or two players by doing that, but at the end of the day, if they're that upset, they can go and find a new club as far as I'm concerned, because I care about the team and I don't care about individual players' egos. So just waiting for this to load up again. I would recommend using a free agents list. You do get some really good players on there. You find like you can sign a player on a free transfer and then suddenly, like the day he signs a contract with you, he's suddenly worth £2.5–3 million. So if you're a club who hasn't got that much money as such to start with, you can sign a player like that on a free transfer, and then in January you can sell him on for £3 million. And then suddenly you're swimming in money, and you don't really know what to do with it because you've got so much of it. I'd rather be in that situation, but then I do kind of have a thing for working with tight budgets as well. I like being able to do wheeler dealer and find a gem from absolutely nowhere, stick him in the squad, score lots of goals with him, win lots of trophies with him, hopefully. Basement battle for Barnet, they're saying, which, despite the fact that I've significantly improved the team and they still think I'm going to struggle to avoid relegation, just shows really how much care and attention you need to put into selecting your initial squad, because you could end up signing loads of players who you think are good and then they turn out not to be so good. I do look a little bit at stats when I'm choosing players, but then at the same time I tend to focus on the overall number. Andrew Yeardham, he is a good player for real, but for me doesn't quite cut it, unfortunately, and so does Mark Byrne. They're two good players, but I'm looking at that number and I'm seeing less than 60, and to me that's not really good enough for the sort of team that I want to have in this game. I'd much rather have a team of all over 60 players, preferably 62, 63, maybe even 64. So those two players have been sold. Because of that, I'm going to have to go and change my bench up again. I like to have my bench in order of position, mainly for ease of access. So if I'm looking to make a sub quickly in the game, I know where the player is that I want to bring on, and I know where the player is that I want to bring off. Just makes life a lot easier, really. Makes it nice and quick. You'll see I do the same with my reserves later on as well. Again, just for ease of access, if you're just about to start a game, you don't really want to be looking through your reserve bench for ages trying to find the player that you want to put in the starting lineup. So as long as you know what position they are, you can find them on my list. That's how I look at it. The way I tend to do it is goalkeeper at the top, obviously, and then wing backs, then centre back, then wide midfielders. If I have a defence midfielder, I'll put him before the wide midfielders, and then I'd put centre or attacking midfielders after the wide midfielders, and then strikers. But if I have wingers, I put them up with the strikers. So yeah, team definitely starting to take shape now. I've only got, I think it's 3 players. Yeah, 3 players under 60 overall, which is a lot better than how it was to start with. If you'd noticed that I think nearly all of them were under 60, apart from Davids and Oster. I'm not even sure if Oster was in the original starting 11. So yeah, definitely I'm starting to get a fair idea of how I want my team to look now. There will definitely be more transfers before the season starts. There will definitely be more players leaving before the season starts. You see, I'm trying to raid the free agents list again. I tend to, once I've got a couple of centre backs and a decent striker, I then start looking at wide midfielders, because again, you don't find that many wide midfielders early on that are good enough for the team. So you sort of have to go looking through these lists of players to try and find some decent wide players. I do decide to sign a new left back as well, having seen that both my left backs are under 60. Left back and right back are 2 positions that I look to strengthen as well, because a lot of my attacks are down the wings and I like to do overlapping runs and things like that. And again, once you've got the overlaps, you want to try and get the ball into the box as quick as you can and then get the strikers on the ball. The reason I have a cam playing is so that if the striker doesn't win the header and the ball comes back out of the box again, the cam can run onto it, or one of the centre midfielders can run onto it. And I have the 2 wide players come inside a little bit more, so that, say for example, the ball is being crossed from the right hand side, the left midfielder can then attack it from the back post and see if he can try and score if the striker doesn't manage to get the ball. But yeah, I think I'll wrap it up for this video. So until next time guys, see you soon.